Listen, he's always been, someone that has good football instincts and good ball skills. He's healthy and with as much three receiver sets, we're in nickel more than we are in base. So he's playing a lot of snaps and playing well.
You going to do any pedicure promises if they have to wait along spikes again?
No, listen, weather's going to be an issue. It's not 80% or 7. It's 100% chance of rain, and so the footing will be important, and the shoes will be important. All of that comes into play relative to windy, wet conditions, and we'll have to adjust quickly.
Do you think about how that affects like the kicking game and stuff?
It affects the whole game.
Yeah,
it affects the whole game. There's a pretty common wind direction at that stadium. It usually blows from their locker room to the ship, on an angle. But again, I'm sure that can change.
John, do you have to do some kind of research to know that, or you just know about the wind and all that?
Well,
how do you know all that?
And we know it, and we talk about it. Every staff meeting we start at night was, what's our weather the next day? What's the game day weather update? And then when you watch the film, you can see that kickoffs are getting touched back more to one end zone than the other, and after a while, and being in the division, you begin to understand at least what the norm is. Now, a front could come in and that could change it, but that's typically which way it's going.
Does that affect your script?
The weather or the wind?
Either.
Yeah, the wind can, but certainly the weather does, and you might not do this. I'll do the script probably Saturday night. Yeah. And then if this has happened before. I mean, we had a half an hour rain delay there one year. I can't recall. We went in for a half an hour, thunder and lightning, came out, warmed up again, and continued playing. And so you're preparing for all of that.
Do you do the script a little bit later when the weather's kind of
and you may shorten the script. But if you know it's going to be raining, it certainly changes kind of what you're thinking about.
So when the team's putting together like a season like this, is there ever just any understanding that there's maybe going to be more interest in your assistants for open positions across the league?
Yeah, I think I've always said this before. I mean, we've got a number of guys, Doug Marrone, Dennis has been a head coach, CJ and Aaron Cromer is now with the Rams, and I think that's a positive thing. I think that when no one's asking, then that's a little bit more of a concern.
I was scouting Keith Kirkwood. What do you remember saying about him?
It's a good question. I know he's at Temple. I remember the read, and then post draft, he was one that we were on the phone with. He had a handful of teams, so sometimes you're dealing with a player that's calling you. He was one that we had to recruit, and it was a good sign for us.
What has been different maybe than you expected?
Well, he's smart. He's long, and can he can pick things up very quickly. He can play at any one of the spots, and I think that helps him a lot.
How do you attribute the success of your defense the last 4 weeks compared to the first game of the season?
It's a combination of a number of things. I feel like our third down numbers are better. We're getting to the quarterback more. Obviously, we've been able to take the ball away more. It's hard to point to one specific thing, but it's a credit to the group in general. And look, the coverage gets a little better if the quarterback's got to throw it a little quicker. Hopefully we're playing a complementary game where we're possessing the ball. Last week was the first time in a while where we didn't win the time of possession, and that's been something that we have been able to do. And that'll be important in this game.
Shall we say to Mario what he does on the field, but what has he kind of brought to the locker room?
He's a good leader, smart, someone that good teammate. A lot of the things that we had heard, and he's passionate. I think every year your team's different. It's made up of different players, and he's been obviously a good addition.
Seems like Kirk Coleman's snap count changes. Does he have a defined role?
Well, look, a lot of it's base and sub, and he's one of the three safety. Some weeks it might be three safeties, some weeks it might be base, so it can fluctuate a little bit, maybe like a tight end's role or a fullback's role, or depending on the opponent.